In Isitipo, Shahid Mahakanos Islaino, God shows man that God has drawn the line between man and God. Shinimiki ora patanti lakatndaden, and God separates the wheat from the tares. Shiloma harakado sesifiri kundokona makalado, and God makes everyone to bow before the holy might of God in judgment. We created this world, and we know the ways of the world we have created. And inasmuch as man would like to believe that he has knowledge of the world, we know that man knows nothing about the world in which he lives. Every piecemeal knowledge that we had given to man was a way of showing man that he could know nothing unless it is given for him to know. And we have shown man, in all the many ages that he came and left, that we could make man forget everything that we have given to be known. The phenomenon of remembering and forgetting is God's way of showing everyone why God is truly the giver of all things. God give it, and God take it away. So was it told to everyone. And yet, man went believing that he knows, and knows not that he does not know. If you know not yourself, how could you know anything else that is fashioned after you? And it hasn't occurred to man that everywhere he looks around his world, that its vastness tells him that he cannot know everything, and he has known nothing. He spends his entire life as a fool on a stage that is misguiding him into believing that he knows and understands the world that he lives in. How could you? How could you? There is no man, and has never been any man, who could have told any man how this whole world came into being, how this earth came into being, how all the manner of earth came into being, how man came into being. And these are the ways that God wanted man to know that you really don't know anything. You really do not know anything. And God could have said to man, do you know why you fall asleep? Do you know why you are given dreams? And do you know how you're able to wake up when others never do? And we say to you, oh son, There is no man on earth that can answer these questions. There is none that can answer these questions. And they cannot answer them because we did not give them the knowledge thereof to know what it is that was given for them to know. Sending you as the Rabboni is sending you as the wisdom of God to the children of God. For they do not know how they are lost, neither do they know how darkness fell upon them. And every one of God's children wander aimlessly in this world, following the ways of aimless evildoers, and never ever realizing this was not the way that God has given to them. They haven't asked us, what do you mean when you say all have gone astray and that we too have gone the wrong way? Because every man presumes that what he is doing in this world is what he was meant to be doing. This whole world has gone the miserable way. And the miseries of man are the ways in which your God has shown to man that in going the wrong way, you distorted everything that is in the wholesomeness, the unity, the harmony, the balance, and the uniformity of God. Your world is always in turmoil. It will always be in turmoil. For everything that was given to regulate it in the divine order was all changed. And everyone today crying out, oh God, what are they doing to us, oh God? God said, what are you doing to yourselves? It is not so much as to what who is doing. It is what are you doing to yourselves? There is wisdom in telling them, turn away from these ways. You must tell them these things. You all know why God told you to turn away. Because God knew there was another way. There is another way. And if you waited and keep faith with God, God would show you that other way. And when you would have found that other way, you would have then known the way that God sent you to dwell in paradise. God says teaching and preaching is the way we send you. Open up your eyes. Let your ears be attentive to the things that are given unto you. Be courageous enough to turn from the things that you have so often embraced and feverishly followed because you believe that is what God wanted you to do. God didn't send you here to do any of what you have done. God did not send you into this world to do anything that you still do today. And when they didn't believe your God, they didn't ask your God, what do you mean that we gone the wrong way? What have we done that led us in the wrong way? And God knew that even the children of God had lost the know-how of the purpose for which they came to earth. They'd lost the know-how of the purpose for which they came to earth. And you can tell them, you can look to amass every material things in this world, like everybody else. It will mean nothing to you in the end. And everyone on earth saw what God showed them. It doesn't matter how much you steal from God's house, because you're stealing. When you acquire what does not belong to you and says that you have owned it, you are stealing from God's house. God said, let them get it into perspective. You own nothing because you brought nothing. And when you come into a man's house where he has everything, you cannot take it away and says that you own it, because it never did belong to you. And all these falsehoods and deceptions and all these evil ways in which man found to justify what it is he has done and what it is that he continues to do and what he encourages others to do, you tell him, you all better turn away from these ways. You all better turn away from these ways. Nothing belongs to you. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And when it does not belong to you, then it must belong to a higher source or a higher authority than you. And there's no higher source and no higher authority than God. There is no higher source or higher authority than God the Father and God the Mother. Closing the book of life is to destroy everything that man has done in this borrowed life that was given to him. Closing the book of life is the annihilation of everything that man has done. When we send calamities to this world, we always show man that it respects no one and it shows no mercy. Hurricanes show no mercy. Earthquakes show no mercy. Tidal waves show no mercy. Tornadoes show no mercy. Viruses show no mercy. They show no mercy because God gives a constant reminder to man of what God can do. When man does not listen, nor does he hear what God has told man. And so, if the children of God must find the way to the true knowledge of your God, they must hearken to the things you tell them. They must hearken to the things you tell them. It's no point believing that if you hold on to what you have, it's going to make you secure and comfortable. Because God shows you you're only one breath away from becoming nothing. Just one breath. And when God sends the unseen unto you, and it lays you low, you don't have time to think about anything else. You are always concerned with whether you're going to live or whether you're going to die. All your riches, all your wealth, all the things that you have amassed around you don't mean anything to you anymore. You cry out, God, don't let me die. God, please let me live. And God looks at every one of you and asks, live for what? Live for what? For every time God showed you the mercy of God to deliver you from the jaws of death, you go back doing the same thing all over again. You go back doing the same things all over again. God told you, God isn't mocked. Never can be, never will be. If you don't believe that you're living in the times when God is already telling you it is finished, then you really have no consciousness of the way in which God exists, nor in the way that God has told you. With God, anything is possible. With God, anything is possible. And God knows all the ways to tell everybody there is nothing God cannot do. There is nothing that God will not do. In all of man's journeys in this life, he was never aware that he would come to this point when God would say to man, which way are you going? Are you going to go my way? Or are you going to go the way of man? When the Father, Mother God said to mankind, whither goest thou? Tell them that's what God went saying to you. Which way will you go? Will you go the way of God? Will you go the way of man? And God leaves the choice to each and every one who hears the message of God to know which way they want to go. Sons say to them, if you must show God that you wish to follow the ways of God, then take what you have and share it with those who do not have. When you said to them, God will test you sorely, God will test you sorely, God said, I didn't think they understand what you meant. If you must follow the ways of God, take what you have and share it with those who do not have. For each and every one of you that go the way of man, shall the Lord thy God take everything away from you, and so will God take the gift of life that was eternally assigned to you away from you. So God tests your faith now. God tests the faith of every one of you. You believe in God, you trust in God, you love God, you want to serve God, then do what God has commanded that you do. Take what you have and share it with those who do not have. Uplift them in God and uplift God within you. For if you believe that with God all things are possible, you will also believe that whatever God has taken from you, God can restore back unto you. God said, there aren't easy times anymore. There aren't easy times. In every way man is showing man there aren't easy times, God is showing man there aren't easy times anymore. God makes demands upon man as man has made demands upon God. And you will tell them, every one of you made demands on God. Every one of you. At every stage of your life, you made demands on God. And then you testify to others that God is good because God hearkened unto your demands. Now God says to you, we will make demands upon you. God now makes demands upon man. Tell them these things. Tell them these things. God said, well, there was nothing mysterious about it. Do unto others, God told them, as others have done unto you. We give to you when you made demands upon us. Show us that you mean what you said you believed in. Show us that you mean what it is that you said you believed in. Shawararo moro sikiri katantalaro no kurati shikara tumbaga na tishlath no no kurasiki na kuntunto ikena katakandad grulus na kanaki social kanakarak borsigarita kitsun no kurati. We said to them, and then we will loosen the chains that bind you to this material world, and we will set you free to discover a world we have kept for you that you didn't know existed. Let the peace of God go forth from you, my son. Let the blessing of God go forth from you to all the children. Let their hearts be contrite, and let their ways be divine. For the way to your God through you is the way of the message from God to you and from you unto them.